Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today. I'm, of course, Greg Guy.
My name is Casey.
And we will be presenting our next episode of BangHead History. So I'll just go ahead and toss it to you, Casey. What are we talking about here this week?
Today we're talking about the Nixon impeachment. And I was kind of interested in this because I personally believe we should impeach the current president. Although I don't know where it would go from there. The choices, the next two choices beyond that are if you impeach the vice president, and you impeach the House, the leader. I mean, neither one of them is good either. You know what I mean?
Competent might be a good word.
Right. Alright, so went down the little rabbit hole of looking at the Nixon impeachment. So I guess the first step would be, who's Richard Nixon? Richard Nixon?
I am not a crook.
Richard Nixon is the 37th President of the United States of America. He served between 1969 to 1974. He previously served as a U.S. Senator, first as a House of Representative member and then as a U.S. Senator. He also served as Dwight D. Eisenhower's Vice President between 1953 and 1961. He also had some losing runs for office. Right after Eisenhower's as being vice president for Dwight D. Eisenhower, he ran for president. He lost in 1960. Do you know who he would have lost to? JFK, yeah. And he lost his bid to become governor of California in 1962 to Pat Brown. He also... So, his accomplishments while in office as president, we'll go with that next. So some of his accomplishments were revenue sharing. So basically, that's when the federal government decided to supplement the state taxes. So revenue sharing is between the federal government, the income taxes or the taxes going into the federal government, and then giving a portion of that to the states. And then now we have just basically state tax and federal tax. So now it's been separated even further. But back then, you just paid federal income tax.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, at the same point in time, though, the states still get, federal funding for certain programs and everything. Right. So, it's still there in some form.
Right.
I would say.
I agree. He ended the draft for the Vietnam War. He had new anti-crime laws. I didn't look too much into that, but I would supply every president had some kind of anti-crime laws, and a broad environmental program, which I also believe each president is continuously doing environmental programs. He had one of the most dramatic event of Richard Nixon's presidency, if I can say it right.
Use your words.
Was the men landing on the moon. So he was president back in the day, the first time when we had the man landing on the moon, which some people still believe is fake. They've gone through the video piece by piece. Some people say it's fake. Some people say it's real. Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure that happened.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that happened too. See, here's my thing. I'm not 100% sure the video is real. It might have been just like a stage setup where they just showed a video and tried to make it look like they were on the moon. But I do believe we actually put men on the moon.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different
that's
discussion, can of worms.
Right. So during the time he was president, the nation was extremely divided between the Vietnam War and the ending of that, and basically he ended fighting in the Vietnam War and brought the guys back. He also improved relations with the USSR and China during his presidency. But the number one thing everybody remembers about the Nixon presidency is
Watergate.
the Watergate scandal, correct? So basically what had happened was Nixon had men break into the offices and bug them, and most famously in the Watergate Hotel in Washington. It was exposed from a tip-off from, do you know the code name from the tip-off? For,
Oh, man. Deep Throat?
yes, Deep Throat, who was...
Which later became a movie.
Right? I think there's a lot of movies about Deep Throat.
Fair enough.
So Deep Throat ended up being Mark Felt, the associate director of the FBI at the time. And later he was promoted on. I didn't really check to see where he was promoted on to. And then everything, Nixon was saying, I wasn't attached to it and all that. But then it came out as one of Nixon's aides, Alexander Butterfield, who was in the White House, said that during a congressional summit or meeting, said that that Nixon recorded all of his conversations that he had in the Oval Office, and there was years and years of legal battles back and forth from the Congress trying to get the tapes, and then eventually, and Nixon was fighting it the whole time, saying executive privilege, which is something that a lot of presidents do, but ended up having to release about 1,200 different tapes of conversations that he had in the tapes and transcripts, which were finally released to the committee, and he was unanimously voted impeached. So not a lot different these days, where it generally along party lines.
Yeah.
Where Democrat versus Republican, basically any because all you need, and we'll get into this, all you need to impeach a president is majority vote.
Yeah.
In the House of Representatives, a majority vote.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm glad you said we're going to get into this.
Right. Because this was the main thing that I wanted to get into, and how does an impeachment process kind of work. So to end with Nixon, basically, he is the only U.S. president in history to resign from office.
Right, because if not that, they were going to impeach him.
Right. Well, the Senate would have convicted him. And,
yeah.
He would have been ousted from presidency regardless. Whether or not it was true, I never looked deeply into the matter, or I'm sure there's hours and hours worth of videos trying to get into all sorts of these type of things. But personally, I believe that Nixon bugging offices basically isn't anything that hasn't happened before in politics.
Or hasn't happened since.
Or hasn't happened since, correct. Because it's being proven now that Trump's phone was bugged in his Trump Tower in New York. So let's get into the rules of impeachment. So the U.S. Constitution provides that the House of Representatives. This is all going to be legal jargon because I'm just going to read it right off the website. Impeachment proceedings. The House of Representatives charges an official of the federal government. Oh, I skipped a spot. Going back. The United States Constitution provides that the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment. The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments, but no person shall be convicted without concurrence of 2/3 of the members present. The President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States are subject to impeachment. So basically, House of Representatives says we're impeaching you. The Senate has to try it in court, basically, and the House, there will be two people in the House. Will be the lawyers for. So basically, there will be, for example, nowadays it would probably be somebody from the Democrats charging Nixon or being the prosecutor, and there would be somebody from the Republican side being the defense attorney.
Right.
And then after the trial, it has to be 2/3. So you need 2/3 of the Senate to say guilty in order for impeachment or removal from office to occur.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then continuing the reading. Impeachment proceedings. The House of Representatives charges an official of the federal government by approving by simple majority voting articles of impeachment. After the House of Representatives sends its articles of impeachment to the Senate sits as a high court of the impeached official. A committee of representatives called managers act as prosecutors before the Senate. In the case of presidential impeachment trials, the Chief Justice of the United States presides. The Constitution requires a 2/3 vote of the Senate to convict, and the penalty for impeachment upon conviction is removal from office. In some cases, the Senate has also disqualified such officials from holding public offices in the future. There is no appeal. Since 1789, about half of Senate impeachment trials have resulted in conviction and removal from office.
Half, really? That number seemed kind of high.
I mean, the way our system works nowadays, basically, is that there's Republicans and there's Democrats.
Yeah.
And if for example, I think that if right now we had the simple majority the Republicans had the simple majority in the House, Joe Biden would have already been impeached.
Yeah, but I mean, they're still not going to get that 66% vote.
Right. Then when it gets
so
to the Senate,
it's just a giant waste of taxpayer dollars.
Correct.
I mean, unless it's an absolutely egregious crime that has transpired. Which is also, in my opinion, the reason why an amendment to the Constitution probably will take a unifying event. We'll say like a giant spaceship coming down from the sky.
Right.
Other than that, the Constitution is pretty much going to sit where it sits, and
So how did you feel about the Trump impeachment trial? You obviously.
Here's another thing is, I mean, it's all for show, in my opinion.
Correct.
But also at the same point in time, I think every president, at least since Clinton, has, they have attempted to impeach.
Correct. Yeah.
I believe.
I
don't know if they attempted to impeach Reagan. Who knows?
Well, I would say that if
or the first Bush.
Every president that has a House of Representatives that is not on their side of the party lines, that has a simple majority, has attempted to be impeached.
Yeah, and in my opinion, it's a waste of taxpayer dollars.
Right, because you're not. Once it gets to the
Senate, never going to happen. You're never going to get 66% of the vote
unless the Senate gets completely overrun by either Republicans or Democrats. It's never going to happen. Although saying it's never going to happen, it has happened with Richard Nixon.
Right. Well, yeah, but I mean, and I'm not familiar with the evidence or anything, but that could be one of those egregious circumstances that it falls into that category. So I mean, I don't know what the evidence was.
Right. But to be fair, for he was president one term from 1969 to 1974. So he had almost already run out his term before he was impeached and removed from office.
Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. Thanks for putting that together there, Casey. BangHead history. Learned a little bit about the impeachment process of elected officials in the United States.
I really hope everybody learns something, because I definitely learned something
Yeah.
when I was doing it.
Yeah. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, everyone out there watching, enjoy the rest of your day.